So this is Katrina Eileen with For Profit, For Purpose. And today I have with us Nick and Brittini Palacios. And they have recently, not recently, they've been in a project. How long did that last? Just a little over 2 years, right?
Yeah, close to 3, yeah.
Closer to 3, yeah.
Yeah.
And long enough to renovate the house and have a baby who is now in bed sleeping.
Yes, thankfully.
At 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. I think that's a win. Holy cow.
Yeah.
So Brittini is from the cosmetology industry and Nicolas is from the aviation industry. And so today we're going to find out a little bit about how you did what you did, because there's a lot of people who watched HGTV, Flip This House. They think that it's something that's cool to do. And they also, a lot of people have this barrier. They think that it's only for professional investors. And really, what you guys found out is that you don't have to be a professional investor, just a little bit of a, think strategically and have some good financial, like sense, and have the patience of a saint, and a lot of other things that we'll talk about today: the good, the bad, the ugly.
I made my first million in real estate when I was 33 years old. I didn't believe it was possible to even be a homeowner after growing up in 20 different homes. I've spent my life learning the game of real estate entrepreneurship, to have the freedom to parent and guide my own schedule, and to express my purpose in the world. What is your purpose? How do you put that purpose behind what you do for money? I believe you were meant to make an impact. My real estate company was built around my purpose of having people discover what they are truly capable of. I'm Katrina Eileen, and this is my podcast, For Profit, For Purpose.
So tell us a little bit about what you did and what the project was, and where you started out at when you first went down this road.
Well, it was kind of a decision that Allison and I wanted to buy a house just out of the blue. It was a good time. I noticed the market was pretty good with the homes, but I never really planned on getting a renovated home. I just wanted the ideal dream home of perfect at the beginning. And then
the first time we saw it, she just said no. She looked at the house and she went, "There's no way I'm going to do that."
I don't want that.
I remember.
She actually wanted the house across the road that was move-in ready, and I didn't want that one. I wanted the one that needed all the work. So that was some conversations.
Yeah, but we just didn't really know how to go about something like that at first. It's kind of a daunting task when you first jump into something like that and you don't know where to go. But I think when you have like a good team behind you, then you can do it. Because
you guys were first-time home buyers.
Yeah,
yes.
Very first time doing something like this.
And so I remember when we first talked, and Nicolas, you have one of the things I remember about you is you always have this vision and you always have the investor hat on, right? As far as looking at how do I financially be responsible, be a good steward of my money, provide for, our financial goals for the future. And that was always a filter that I think was in place from the first time that we talked. And
absolutely.
And the tax benefits and looking at all of those aspects. And so when we first started talking about the different properties, we walked into this one, I remember, and it was, so even experienced investors would have walked into this and been like, okay.
It was a lot.
It was a
lot.
Nice this wasn't just carpet, paint, some new cabinets. This was from the inside out, all the way from the crawl space to the attic crawl space to the everything. I mean, there wasn't actually
tearing down walls
and
like
complete gut job.
Yeah,
complete.
But it was worth it. It was worth it. It was.
So, Brittini, what was the turning point for you when you said, "Oh, you know what? I can do that."
You know what? It was the house across the street. I wanted the house across. It was weird because I found that house across the street. I remember I messaged you, and we looked at it, and I went, "This is the exact same cul-de-sac we looked at a couple weeks ago." And it was the one across the street where you're like, "Oh, well, that could be potential." And I was like, "No." Well, we saw that home across the way, and it was only a 2-bedroom, and the whole bathroom was only in the master bedroom. It was a really weird layout, but I was still like, "Oh no, it's pretty. Let's get that one."
Yeah.
And it was funny because you were like, it's okay. And I was like, oh, these floors though seem a little different. You're like, they're floating floors. They're different. And like, you weren't that jazzed about them, but you're like, yeah, we could put in an offer. And then I remember we didn't get it. And you said, but that house across the way is literally 300 square feet more. And it's 3 bedroom, 2 full bath. And it could be everything you want, but more. And I remember telling you, you better be right. You better be right. You better actually. Because I wanted everything of that house, but more. Like I got my new cabinets, my new countertops, and the whole house was new after it was done.
And not only that, but I have to say, the house across the street, whoever selected those finishes, they were just kind of, they were new,
different.
and there was tile, and it was the tile backsplash and all the pretty stuff, but it just didn't match, right? And
no.
What you selected in your guys' house, like that was beautiful. It was design. You had everything you wanted: new appliances, designer colors, slab quartz countertops, 2 new bathrooms, tile surrounds. I don't think
absolutely
there was
everything.
And then Nicolas, that barn door that you built, that actually was such a key piece, right? Especially when we turned around and sold this property.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People loved it.
People loved that barn door and the farm sink. And
Yep, it was beautiful. We'll have to show some pictures so people can see what we're talking about.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It was stunning. And so tell me a little bit about so good, bad, the ugly, right? Like what were the biggest challenges as you were going through this? Were there times where you thought, why in the hell did we do this?
Yeah.
It's the timing on that one. If you have to sort of be willing to give and take on the time, because they tell you it's going to take 6 months, but if you plan for that, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah, there's always stuff going on because the 203K loan there's so much, and the payments to the contractors are so different than what you expect. They don't just get paid up front. Yeah. It's installments. And so it's installment work where you have to wait a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But
it pays off though.
It does pay off. Our house, we couldn't have got that. By the time, because our house was a short sale, by the time we were done closing, if we wanted to buy a different house, we couldn't afford it. We couldn't by the time. So we were kind of hoping and praying that everything went good at the end, because or else we don't know what we would have done. But then we got such a nice house in our budget that
and
all the projects are done, because you never do the projects when you move out.
We didn't have
when
to
you have a contractor, and also the other thing is when the contractor doesn't get paid until the work's complete, then which is what the 203K loan does. Then I grew up, my dad was a contractor and a carpenter, and he did beautiful work, but in our house, all of it, like the trim was never attached, there was things that all the things that it just was never quite done. And
ours, the only thing we had to do at the end, like that we decided, was paint the outside, put on a covered patio, and redo the landscaping. But the landscaping, we didn't even know that was an issue till summer came around.
All the weeds.
Yeah, but
no, the 203K loan, even though it's kind of a headache at first and it's a little tricky, it's well worth it in the end. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it was. It is and it is a lot of work. So there's not a lot of lenders out there even willing to tackle that. Do you remember who your lender was?
Greystone Mortgage.
Yeah, I
think that was it.
Yep, it was Nick Neal, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was it was good, but then I remember he had some issues, and then we had to switch at the end. That was unexpected, but it went really well. And everyone kept us in the loop, because a lot of people, first off, we didn't even know about 203K before, because I remember we tried to go, didn't originally get a hold of you, so we were going to someone else, and she had no clue about any of this stuff. And I think it kind of scares people at first, but it pays off.
Yeah,
a lot of people,
absolutely.
So the 203K loan is a loan where you can wrap all of your renovation costs into your purchase loan. And so there's what's called a streamline product, and that is where it's $30,000 or less, right? The budget. So you can get carpet, you can get paint. It could even be you get a house and you want to paint it and put some new appliances in. You can do the 203K loan, have that wrapped in, so you don't have to come up with all the cash. And then there's the full meal deal where, you know, as long as you have a foundation in the ground, you can rebuild something and your budget's up to the FHA loan limits. And you guys went full meal deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not for
Well,
the faint of
yeah.
heart.
No, we yeah, because we took out walls, we redid everything, got top of the line everything. But the thing was too, we always looked at it as an investment.
Yeah.
So we picked things too that were going to be, you know, resellable. We looked at the nice countertops, the white cabinets. We didn't do anything out there that we were going to go, oh, well, that's only something we would like. So even the outside painted, I mean, it was a little bit brighter blue, but I think people.
But it was cute. It was cute.
Yeah.
We got great feedback on it, right? And the market is always what tells us, you know, the market always gives us that feedback, and everybody loved it. So, so do you mind talking a little bit about the number? Was this profitable at the end, or did you just kind of?
Oh yeah.
Or
I didn't really. I mean, like I kind of went into selling it, but I didn't really know because we were selling it right with this pandemic hit really hard at the beginning. And that was kind of scary because I didn't know really what was going to happen. Because we said 350. We bought the house at like 255, I think, after all the renovations. It was 185.
I think you got it at 187 or something.
180. Yeah, around there. But then with all the renovations, like 255, which is
still
great price. And then we sold it at 360 actually, and we ended up making a profit almost 74,000
net. So after everything.
Yeah, after everything. Yeah, that was our money.
So you got to live there for a little over 2 years. And then
great house.
And I think you probably paid less on your mortgage than you would for rent. For property. And then you net profited that amount. Now, here's the really cool thing. And so, Nicholas, talk about the tax implications of that. Like, did you have to pay tax on that? And if so, how much was it? So what was your true net?
Do you remember what our true net was?
It was true. It was about the same for because we had to pay no taxes.
Yeah,
I don't know how you don't remember that.
That day was just so busy with everything going on.
He was shocked how much we got for it, I think, too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so now the gauge is changing, right? Okay, Brittini.
Oh, yeah.
Give us the numbers. Give us the data.
Yeah, we walked away. We were literally, cause it was 74, because it was like right under 74, and we didn't have to pay any taxes on it because we stayed occupied that house for, I think it was about 2.5, 3 years you had to occupy it, and then you didn't get taxed on it for selling it.
Yeah,
so it was completely hard, and there was no stipulation of, oh, you have to put that money into something either immediately or else you're going to get taxed. There was none of that.
We were worried about that.
But yeah, that's what I was worried about, that we'd have to put it right into a property immediately, but no, we didn't have to.
So if you live in a property for 2 of the last 5 years, then when you sell it, you have a capital gains exemption up to $250 per individual or $500,000 per couple. So you guys, scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you that you did that at the end? Like,
extremely happy.
I remember getting the calls. I remember when contractors were taking forever, and then the city ended up having, like, what was it? The shed. They were taking down the shed, and all of a sudden things that didn't need to be permit, right? You weren't going to need to pull a permit for some crazy reason, and that put us behind. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there was all sorts of stuff. There was the shed. It was all sorts of craziness, but
if you can get through the headache, it's a 10 out of 10. It's worth it. You just gotta you gotta stick with it.
We are literally debt free now, so and we still have a huge chunk to put in for our next home.
Yeah,
I mean, we couldn't have done that.
Okay, so that's a good indicator. So would you do it all over again, or are you going to take this profit and put it into something turnkey?
You know what? Because I always say, oh, I just want that brand new home. I just want that brand new home. But I made a brand new home in such a lower priced home. So I probably would do more of a renovation again. And then I get to pick what I want. I don't get the whole, and what I've noticed too is from other people who've bought those, turnkey homes, is they're not always what they seem. They're not always you don't get to pick the contractors. You don't get to pick the stuff. And it is what it is.
Yeah. That's another thing though, with having all the work done and you being able to check on the contractor, it's done right. You don't really have to worry about it. because you're testing it, you're checking it, you know it's done. You're not buying what you're hoping is good.
Yeah, I mean, even the countertops, we had an issue one time with the countertops, and I immediately called up our contractor, and he was like, no, they don't know what they're doing. I'm going to get someone out there tomorrow. This is not acceptable. I actually got to talk to the contractor and deal with it. And I went to like even Home Depot, picked out stuff with him, everything.
Yeah, you get the final say in the quality of your home.
Even in homes that are 2 and 3 times the cost of what you guys had, you still you don't get the tile, the custom tile. You don't get the little niches. You know, you might get the fiberglass around. You get some things that are really nice on the where it shows, but then you don't necessarily they cut corners. And what you guys did, every single nook and cranny of your place was new and it was quality. And so that's due to your taste and the selections you chose, because I have worked with people where you're like, whoa, why would you put that in? Right? So it's your taste and it's what you chose. And then in addition to that, it's having a quality contractor who does quality work. And
he, our contractor really, because there was some things like I picked and he was like, you know, maybe we should think about something a little bit more neutral and do this. And I don't know, I like that input by having someone who actually knew what they were doing too, because some of the things he was like, well, look at it from a resale value and this and this and this. And I was like, well, yeah, that's smart. We should probably do this and maybe tame it down, and maybe I shouldn't get my bright, sparkly countertops.
That's good to know. All right, that's great to know. So you were working with a contractor who he's an investor contractor. So he does a lot of flips. He does flips himself. And so he has a lot of great input, right? And experience with what sells and what doesn't. So I didn't realize you guys had that kind of exchange. I was so impressed with everything you chose.
We did. We met, well, me and him, and Nick was always busy working. So it was always me and him met quite a bit. And he would always go, is Nick okay with this, this, and this, and this? And I was like, yeah, he's fine. He's fine. It was funny because I would go, oh yeah, I want this subway tile and this grout and this and this. And he would give me his opinion on everything. Because I remember I wanted, I think, the sparkly countertops. And he was like,
Yeah, you wanted the fairy or something? We
ended up with of course, the top of the line countertop. But he put his input and it was appreciated. I mean, gosh, even at one point our flooring, it was out of stock or something. And he needed to order it like that morning. And he was going, well, this one's most similar. Are you okay with my choice? And I was like, sure, let's just do it. And it worked.
So having that trust there as well, right? Yeah. Because how many people can you say, sure, whatever you choose, and I know that's going to be good. So I know it's going to go in line with what we want. So overall, when we went into this, you know, I can describe the process. I can talk to you about it. We can look at timelines, and but you still have your sense of how easy or hard this is going to be. Would you say that it was easier or harder than what you initially thought going in?
You know what? I actually think it was easier.
I found it harder.
You found it harder than you thought?
I did. Because originally when we were looking for a home that was ready to buy, you think it's going to be easier. I mean, you know, there's going to be a lot of paperwork and all that, and you know, there's things you're going to have to do, but having to go through with the contractor and plan everything. And like I said, you're given this timeline that you're sort of told to stick with, but it's not always the case. You have to be flexible. So it is harder than what you expect, but it's definitely worth it. But I wouldn't say it was easy.
I thought it was easier. I mean, because I was just so like dreading. It was after we signed. Like I was dreading kind of it, but I don't know. It seemed easier after we signed even. I mean, yeah, it was a waiting game on some things, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It seemed easier to me because it didn't seem as stressful. I think I had a good contractor and you kept in the loop too the whole time. Even through it, you kept in the loop. So to me, I didn't feel as stressed because if I had a question, it got answered. It wasn't, oh, I don't know. I never got an, oh, I don't know. I always got an answer. I didn't get someone just going, oh, I don't know. I'll figure that out in a couple days.
It's not like calling some customer service line somewhere. And,
it was, okay, yeah, this or this. Like, I mean, even your part technically was done after we signed the papers, and I still would ask you questions and you would answer them. So that was the thing. I don't know. To me, it wasn't that hard after.
Well, that's awesome. And I have to tell you guys, you know, there's just a little envy, right? Because so I build, renovate, do remodel projects, and I have to tell you, what you did was just as beautiful as any product I have a professional designer help me with.
Oh, wow.
And here's the thing. So my kids will go into our renovated houses and, these properties, and they're like, why can't we live in a house like this? So I'm kind of like my dad, right? We're your own home is never, right? So we don't have the new countertops. We don't have this stuff. So you guys got it all. You got to do the investment. You got to get the gain. You got to live in a gorgeous home for 2.5 years, and then and then make that investment profit. So and you got to do it as owner occupants, which means you get to keep all the money. And
it was a win-win-win.
Yeah, cool. Well, so what? So if you were Brittini, your sister's actually contacted me, and I have to reach back out to her. And she said, "Hey, she's like, I want to learn how to do this. I want to learn real estate." And so thinking about that, or anyone else out there that, they're thinking, one, is this for me? Can I do it? Is it worth it? Or, or any of those things, they're considering it. What would be your best advice going in so that they have a good set of expectations?
I think you have to keep an open mind. You really do. You can't just have a set goal in your mind ahead of time and you have a list. You always have a list in your head of this checkoff list of what you expect and what you want. But you got to really be flexible and open, because I wanted the cookie cutter perfect brand new home, and it just wasn't feasible. And it wasn't exactly, I found the homes and they weren't exactly what we thought. He had a list of things and I did check off his list. And then he goes, I don't really need this. I don't really need that. And I guess I'm wrong. We just need to be more open-minded with it, because if you're more open-minded, then you can get actually what you want and then some. And that was us, because next time I think because we've talked about that, their next purchase, I'm going to have to keep more open-minded still, because now I'm like, oh, I can get a brand new home. But then I look at it, I'm going, I don't know.
Yeah, and now that you've had the experience of being able to pick out all your own things, right,
Mm-hmm.
and get that quality, now you're
hard.
starting to see, like in these other homes, like what's missing, right, or what you would
absolutely,
just for you.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I love that. So if you stay open-minded, then you could end up with even more than you had ever expected. That was pretty amazing. Yeah, that's great insight. How about you, Nicholas?
It was pretty similar, because it's as she was saying, that was a huge thing. I had this list where I wanted a garage. I didn't want to have to worry about I wanted a built-in heater. I wanted all these things. And we found that house, and as we're sitting there and I'm looking and going, that's not as important as I thought, because it was a 1-car driveway, and I realized we're going to be playing car shuffle every night, and I don't want that. I really wanted a 2-car driveway, and what was really more important is how much space do we have, the number of bathrooms, where it is lot-wise. And if you start thinking not just what you want, but more of what the market wants or the resellability, then it becomes a lot easier. Then you start looking past and you go, well, if we got this, we can turn into this for the location we're at, the size of families, the type of income, and it just kind of falls into place.
There you go. I love that. So if you keep an open mind, you can end up with more than you ever thought. And if you're willing to, if you're in a place in life where you can say and run it through the filter of what would the market want, and maybe set some of your, some of the things that you thought you wanted aside, then you can end up with, so, it's interesting. So I'll work with clients and I'll work with people, and they just can't afford, right? Like what their loan is approved for, it just doesn't buy what they want. And so one of the things we talk about is, well, buy this is your interim step, right? So get this one, so at least you can get into the market, you can keep up with the appreciation, because prices just continue to go up. And then, right, and then you can go ahead and get what you want. And that's really the position you guys are in. Right?
It's a nice one.
Nice position.
It's nice to be here right now.
Yeah, because I couldn't have what I could have afforded, what we could have afforded was not exactly what our dream idea was. I mean, I couldn't have afforded at the time all these top end appliances and all that.
No.
That wasn't in the ballpark at all.
We wouldn't have walked away with nearly what we did.
No.
Yeah. Excellent. So do you have any other words of advice or any other insight or anything else that you want to say about, because here's what I really want. I want other people to realize they can have what you guys had and what you're going to be doing again.
Oh yeah. You just have to find a good real estate agent and a team, honestly, that's going to back you with everything and have open ideas in order to do this. And you have to trust the process, and you have to trust your real estate agent's ideas too on it, because you just need to be open. You need to be open to the whole thing. Because I wasn't open, and then I saw I couldn't get what I wanted. We got the house that I was kind of dreading at first. And I got this amazing home, and I got amazing profit off of it. I mean, I couldn't have walked away from a home, selling a home, be debt free, and have a huge chunk to put on my next dream home, hopefully here.
Yeah.
That's
so funny. There's nothing like the day you close and you get your
chunk that I can put down.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's nothing like closing and you get your keys and you just want to cry. What is this? What did we buy? And then it turns into your dream home, right? Like, I mean, it may not be the ultimate dream home, but what you guys created was a dream. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. Now with our, hopefully growing family here soon, that even more so, it'll serve even more. We can have a bigger house and a better house again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. And this is really what we're all about: for profit, for purpose. And there's nothing that can really be more quintessential for profit, for purpose than a family buying a home, living in it, being able to use it, have it be something so beautiful, turn it around for a profit, and then now be looking at what's next for your family, for your financial future, and eventually, I mean, you guys are so young, but eventually your retirement. So thank you. Thanks for being a part of the show.
I would love to hear about your purpose. I'm always looking for like-minded people to collaborate with, interview, or do business with. Reach out to me directly at 425-230-4499. Not sure what your purpose is? I'm happy to share the guide that helped me discover mine. If you'd like that guide and a free copy of my Amazon bestselling investment book for real estate, visit my website at katrinaeileen.com. If this podcast brings you value, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for listening to For Profit, For Purpose. I would love to hear about your purpose. I'm always looking for like-minded people to collaborate with, interview, or do business with. Reach out to me directly at 425-230-4499. Not sure what your purpose is? I'm happy to share the guide that helped me discover mine. If you'd like that guide and a free copy of my Amazon bestselling investment book for real estate, visit my website at katrinaeileen.com. If this podcast brings you value, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for listening to For Profit, For Purpose.